Ram out, Mamata in school textbooks in Bengal. Ramdhenu changed to Rongdhenu, and some say there is a systematic campaign to appease the minorities in Bengal, a charge that the Mamata Banerjee government vehemently denies. Also on the show, declare Pakistan a terrorist state. Finally, call for a debate in Rajya Sabha by independent MP Rajiv Chandra Shekhar, but empty benches paint a rather dismal picture. I'm Gaurav Sawant. 30 minutes lined up. Let's begin with the headlines on India First. It's India's first concrete step to declare Pakistan a terrorist state. Days after the eyewash of Hafiz Saeed's detention drama in Lahore, independent MP Rajiv Chandra Shekhar moves a bill to attach terror tag to Pakistan, remove most favored nation status.
That it is time that we stopped running to other countries to declare Pakistan a terror state and stood up and did this job ourselves.
Ennore Port Managing Director speaks exclusively to India Today, confirms the arrest of the captains of the ship who caused the spill off the coast of Chennai. An inquiry is now underway. Did the Kamarajar port sleep after the collision of the ships, permitting it to turn into a full-blown crisis? Documents and press release accessed by India Today indicate an effort to play down the threat. Daylight shooting in Bengaluru. Bike-borne assailants shoot at the president of the Agricultural Produce Market Committee. Police sound a red alert across the city. In Mamata Banerjee's West Bengal, Lord Ram is out of school textbooks. There is a new controversy with the Chief Minister and members of her team of the Trinamool Congress making an entry into school textbooks. India Today has accessed the draft copy of the new textbook prepared by the West Bengal Board for Secondary Education, which includes a chapter on Shingur land agitation that once propelled Mamata Banerjee's TMC to power in the state. The book, titled Atit O Atijyo, is being printed for class 8 students. It is to be taught from the upcoming academic session. Terming the Shingur agitation as historic, the chapter describes Mamata Banerjee as the leader who organized the anti-land acquisition movement and gave a direction to farmers' struggle. This movement, according to the book, helped end the evil attempt to establish a factory for 1 lakh rupee car project over land fertile for multiple crops, a move aimed at industrialization for development and job creation. That's a line in the chapter. But the opposition is up in arms, alleging a systematic bias. The BJP has hit out, saying, why was reference to Lord Ram removed from school textbooks? Why was the rainbow that was called the Ramdhenu in Bengal now being called Rongdhenu in textbooks?
एक उद्योग बंद करके कोई चीफ मिनिस्टर बनता है या तो इतिहास में चला जाता है, तो हजारों उद्योग बंद करने वाले कम्युनिस्ट लोगों को तो ज्यादा पुरस्कार देना चाहिए, उनका नाम हिस्ट्री में लिखना चाहिए। ये कोई बात नहीं हुई है, केवल राजनीति है। अपना नाम अपने तरफ से प्रचार कर रहे हैं, सरकार में होते हैं तो लोग ऐसा ही करते हैं।
After removing references of Lord Ram in the term Ramdhenu, which means rainbow in Bengali, from West Bengal government textbooks, the Mamata Banerjee government has now added a chapter on its Shingur movement in West Bengal government history textbooks. A copy of the draft new textbook is with India Today, and you can clearly see these are class 8 textbooks which are now being printed right now. It's titled Atit O Atijyo, and in one of the chapters of this history textbook, the government has put in a chapter on the Shingur movement in order to illustrate the importance of the Shingur verdict and the movement which took place and propelled Mamata Banerjee government to power. The state government has not just included the names of the Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee herself, but more than a dozen Trinamool Congress leaders like Purnendu Basu, Ashima Patro, Dola Sen, Bratya Basu, Arpita Ghosh, Shobhan Chatterjee, Firhad Hakim, Shobhandev Chattopadhyay, Subroto Bokshi, Mukul Roy, Rabindranath Bhattacharya and Bachara Manna. Clearly raising a lot of eyebrows, with many are now questioning, is this an attempt to politicize the West Bengal syllabus? With camera person Tapan Indrajit for India Today in Kolkata.
And India Today's Indrajit Kundu now joins me live with the latest on this controversy. So first, Rainbow. Ramdhenu changed to Rongdhenu, Akashi to Asmani, and now a chapter on Mamata Banerjee and Shingur with names of a dozen TMC leaders in history books. What's the government's explanation, Indrajit?
Well, we did try and speak to the chairman of the expert committee that was formed by Mamata Banerjee to remodel West Bengal government, syllabus. And they're justifying the move. They're saying that they're trying to incorporate all contemporary land movements. Now, the logic that they are citing is that because it's a contemporary movement, it has contemporary political leaders. If they have any political affiliation, that is not their fault, and it is merely logical that they figure in this chapter. But many would say that these are class 8 impressionable minds. To give them history lessons about the importance of the Shingur land movement is one thing. To let them know about more than a dozen political party leaders who name features here is completely different, and therefore many are asking, is this a political bias? Is it an attempt at politicization of the minds of very young students who are going to study this as part of their history lesson?
Stay with me, Indrajit Kundu. We will continue talking about this and lots more, because it's not just Ramdhenu being changed to Rongdhenu. There is tension over traditional Saraswati Puja not being held as usual, and that too in Bengal, where traditionally it's been celebrated with great enthusiasm. There was also tension at one particular high school which had to be shut down. Now students of this high school fear that their studies and board examinations will suffer. The opposition once again hitting out at Mamata Banerjee government as they allege that she's appeasing minorities. The Bengal government has hit back, saying that the opposition is spreading rumors to inflame communal passions. My colleague Indrajit Kundu brings us this report.
Communal fault lines in a school in West Bengal. Students in the grip of communal unrest. The matters came to a head on 31st January, one day before Saraswati Puja. Tension erupted in Uluberia over the school authorities' decision to deny permission to the Saraswati Puja on its premises. Students came out on the streets, clashing with the police. Screams, stones and lathis were employed freely. In Mamata's Bengal, it is Nabi Divas versus Saraswati Puja. The Tehata High School in Uluberia is under lockdown for 2 months now, and the communal flare-up has tempers rising in the parliament too. As the BJP puts the West Bengal Chief Minister in the dock over religious bias, Mamata and her men blame it on RSS rumour mongering.
I have not even begun, Mr. O'Brien wants... The problem is that the RSS is trying to create a Mr. O'Brien, when a particular school
what is objection was there? Nothing.
After 65 years of continuous observance, from observing this Saraswati Puja, I think it's a matter of shame. I think
You say your issue
is to note that we seek the religious freedom for all communities in the state, and just because a particular state, that does not exclude any community, especially those who observe Saraswati Puja.
আর এলাকার মানুষকে ভালো রাখুন, সাম্প্রদায়িক কোনো দাঙ্গা যাতে কেউ করতে না পারে নজর রাখুন। কেউ কেউ গুজব রটিয়ে নানা রকম ভাবে অশান্তমূলক কাজ করে, গুজবে কেউ কোনো পা দেবেন না, প্ররোচনায় পা দেবেন না। অঞ্চল শান্তিতে থাকুন, সম্প্রীতি বজায় রাখুন, সংহতি বজায় রাখুন। যারা কোনো কাজ করে না তারা দাঙ্গা করে বেড়ায়।
Here's what led to the escalation. The school administration claims that a section of students influenced by outsider Islamic fundamentalists wanted to forcibly conduct an event to observe the birth of Prophet Muhammad on 13th December without permission. The State Education Department suspended operations at the school indefinitely as tensions peaked.
उस स्कूल में सरस्वती पूजा होती है तो फिर नबी का नबी दिवस भी होना चाहिए, क्योंकि ये मुसलमानों का हक है और तमाम उसमें हिंदुओं का भी हक है। सेकुलर हिंदू भाई जो हमारे हैं उनका भी हक है।
If Saraswati Puja can be celebrated in a government school, then why not Nabi Divas? That's the question that was confronted with the administration of the Tehotto High School in Howrah. The situation turned grim with police picketing outside the school, so much so that the school had to be eventually shut down by the government. At this point in time, the biggest casualty of this decision are those 2,000 students whose lives depend on this very school. With camera person Tapan Indrajit for India Today in Kolkata.
So why did the state government decide to shut down the school? What about the fate of 2,000 students, Indrajit? What will happen to them?
Well, that's for the government to answer at this point in time. But clearly, law and order is an issue, and Tehotto, as we are speaking, not very far away from Dhulagarh, both in Howrah district and in Tehotto at this point in time, there are prohibitory orders in place. There is police picketing outside the school. The school, of course, remains indefinitely shut. The department, the education department, has not provided any answer as to when it would be able to resume normal operations. So clearly, failure to provide, security at this point in time does become an issue, because a section of students are now claiming that a school was shut just 2 days ahead of Saraswati Puja, and even they have been denied their rights to, take part in their own activities.
And this controversy over Ma Durga's idol immersion and the Saraswati Puja, is this just political or is there a larger story here?
Well, what the opponents, especially the parties like the BJP, what they are stating that this is nothing but, appeasement politics by the ruling Trinamool Congress, keeping in mind a specific vote bank, because they are saying that because the government is not acting on law and order violations by certain communities, therefore, these communal flare-ups are occurring again and again, and that's the reason why perhaps in recent past we've seen a spate of such communal flare-ups that have taken place across West Bengal, with the government still not being able to take stern action against it.
Keep tracking that story, Indrajit. I will come back to you for more. For the moment, many thanks. I now want to shift focus to the other big story we're tracking here on India First. It's the first step to declare Pakistan a state sponsor of terror, and it's been taken with independent Member of Parliament Rajiv Chandra Shekhar moving a bill to debate a national policy on Pakistan. From reviewing the Indus Water Treaty to withdrawing the most favoured nation status to a terrorist state. All options on the table. This is the first time that a comprehensive bill on the subject is being tabled, which seeks more than just military options to punish Pakistan-sponsored terror.
So this bill, therefore, sir, is to finally put into motion the process of calling terror sponsors to account. For years of terror sponsorship and for causing losses of innocent lives, not just in India, but in the region around us, in other parts of the region and the world, sir. Sir, there is another important reason. The world is getting tired and has lost patience with rogue nations. Nations that don't conform to global standards of civilized conduct and compliance with law, as state sponsors of terrorism are. And as world opinion consolidates around the conduct of some countries like Pakistan, the focus will naturally come on what India and the Indian Parliament's approach to this threat is. And it's, sir, I humbly state that it cannot be our case as Parliament and as a country that the world declare and treat Pakistan as a terror sponsor, while all we have done is a 1994 parliamentary resolution. And I state humbly that it is time that we stopped running to other countries to declare Pakistan a terror state and stood up and did this job ourselves.
India should take the first step, says Rajiv Chandra Shekhar. Executive Editor Javed Ansari joins me for more on the story. Javed, In 1971, Indira Gandhi sliced Pakistan into two. Bangladesh was born. Rajiv Chandra Shekhar also spoke of the Kargil victory of 1999 and the current surgical strikes into Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. But these are just military options and operations. Focus of the bill is more economic, social and cultural sanctions against Pakistan, Javed.
Yes, indeed it is. And Rajiv Chandra Shekhar feels that once we snap trade and economic ties with Pakistan and cultural ties with Pakistan, it will compel the civil society within Pakistan to rise up and protest, because he believes there's not enough resistance to what the military and hardliners are doing, especially their attitude towards India and Pakistan. And therefore, once there is opposition from within, this will force their hand, and this will force them to rethink their attitude towards India. Gaurav?
Absolutely. It cannot be business as usual with Pakistan. We cannot have trade ties and cricketing ties and film ties when Pakistan sends terrorists into India to kill innocent Indians. But Javed, Parliament suffered Pakistan-sponsored terror in December 2001. One would have expected our elders to be more aware, to be dedicated to the cause of Pakistan-sponsored terror, to eradicate it. What explains the empty benches behind Rajiv Chandra Shekhar?
Look, it's not uncommon as where private members' bill is concerned. It happens after lunch on Friday and then follows a weekend. So most members, not just in the case of this bill, but most of the time members are absent. And let's not forget that we are in the middle of election season. MPs from Punjab, from Uttar Pradesh, from Uttarakhand, from Goa are missing in action. So that also explained. But yes, given the importance of the bill, MPs should have been present. Although the last has not been heard of this, the government can, when this bill is listed for a debate and discussion, the government has the option of adopting this bill if it feels it falls within its aims or within its policy stated within the framework of its policy towards Pakistan. So that whether MPs are present or not, the government can adopt this bill. There's nothing stopping Mr. Narendra Modi and his government from adopting this bill and making it a part of their policy towards Pakistan.
Absolutely. Javed Ansari, for the moment, many thanks for joining me. I now want to shift focus to Chennai. 7 days after two ships collided off the coast of Chennai, it's caused a massive oil spill. It's threatening the entire marine ecosystem in this region. Despite efforts to control the disaster, the waters of the Ennore coast are yet to be completely sludge-free. Look at the images that you're seeing behind me. There are corpses of choked fish and turtle floating ashore almost every day. So, was this a one-off incident, or is India's preparation to deal with such disasters shockingly inadequate?
This is enough to give you an idea of the task at hand to clean up Chennai's shore at Ennore and beyond. A task being carried out by the Coast Guard, Navy and a band of dedicated, enthusiastic volunteers and fishermen.
I'm atop of ICGS Barda, and to my right you can see that ship MTBW Maple. This was one of the ships that got collided along with on MT Kanchipuram on Saturday 4 a.m. in the morning. That caused a disastrous oil spill. On the 7th day right now, Coast Guard and other departments are still battling over to clear the sheen. Now Coast Guard has said that 34,000 square meters of oil sheen that was spread across the sea has been removed. Right now they are concentrating more on removing the sludge that formed due to the oil spillage that has been collected at Ennore port right now. 90% of the oil spillage is in Ennore, and the rest of them has like seeped towards, due to the currents and everything, has gone all the way across to up to Thiruvanmiyur beach right now.
The polluting ships are set to face the music, but the focus right now is squarely on the cleanup. With bright orange suits dotting the coastline, using super suckers and other equipment.
So I'm standing just a few meters away from the massive cleanup operation that we're witnessing here along the shore. But this is the part that's slightly ignored. You don't see any volunteers here, but quite a bit of muck. It's spreading essentially. It's all being pushed away as well into the ocean, and this is a big issue that the Coast Guard is facing. So what are they doing? The local community has come out there. You see that particular boat just a distance away from us. The people there are also waving at us. What they're doing is they're taking this particular entire barrier, this bund that was put across by the Coast Guard. This bund is being taken along, and they're literally pushing all of the muck in. They're literally pushing it towards the coast, towards that shoreline, where they can then scoop it out once the sludge mixes there along with the rest of the debris that's already gathered. The problem, however, is that you're seeing slicks manage to escape as well. In that part, you can see it in the water here as well. So how successful is this is another question that definitely needs to be asked, because at this point, while massive efforts are being taken up there, it's along here that seems to be the worry. If that spreads into the ocean, what happens next? The Coast Guard will then have to resume the operation along the water, along the ocean as well, to clear all this up, spray OSD or whatever it takes. The local community is now trying to push it. They are being successful to a certain extent, but because of the tide, because of course the seas are unpredictable, it's getting a little difficult for them really to figure out exactly which direction the muck is moving in.
The bad news is that now the rescue teams estimate the spillage to be in excess of 100 tons. The good news, according to them, is that most of the oil has been segregated, with almost 80% of the slick cleaned up. But the nagging question remains, will we always have this knee-jerk response to an environmental disaster? And what are we doing to ensure that one such never happens again? With Akshita Nandgopal and Pramod Madhav in Chennai, Bureau Report, India Today.